She sells seashells on the seashore. Shore. Shore. Hey guys, Lexis here. Welcome everybody who is interested in linguistics and in the subject of English of the International A-Levels curriculum. Today we're speaking about language and use, the third component of Unit 1, entitled Context and Identity. The main question here is, why do we need language in use, or the language levels, as we also call them? The answer is simple. In order to understand and be able to evaluate and analyze the speaker's identity, it is necessary to see what is said or written. You may hear people's voices around me, so I hope you don't mind. Again, so we need to look into the speaker's or writer's language in order to define and note down the features of their identity. Let's note it down. Identity and context. So identity and context are related to the language in use, and if you remember the previous videos, we have this triangle where the elements are interrelated. We're not gonna look through it once again, and hopefully you will see it further on. The central question today is, what is it exactly in the language in use that we can look at, and we may speak about it in very general terms because it is a very big field to cover. But a more important aspect is, what is it about the language and its structure that we need? So this is where we begin. Language structure. Language is a system, and if you take a look at any systems, you will see that there are elements, and these elements are interrelated, interconnected, and they cooperate. So that's why the humanity is only partially a system nowadays, because not everyone is willing to cooperate. But when we speak about a language, we definitely should see that it is a system of different layers or levels. So language structure consists of various levels, and it is these levels that we want to consider. Okay? And why do we need these components of the system? We need them in order then to be able to define further elements, and those further elements will help us to evaluate, analyze, and write down our comparative comment, which is one part of the first unit here. So, long story short, today I suggest that we just peek into the look at the surface of this system. All right, it can be easily represented in a way of a pyramid or triangle. So let's do it. This triangle will represent different language levels. All right, so it doesn't mean that we speak about the hierarchy when one element is more important than another, even though we can suggest this point too. But our goal today is to see what kind of layers we have, and what they represent in a nutshell. Okay? So this structure will also be needed for Unit 2 evaluative comment, where you are given a language variation. So it is not only Unit 1 that we're dealing with nowadays, but we're trying to look into something that is not abstract at the root of it and implemented only in one sphere, Unit 1 language, context and identity, say, but it is something that you can make use of on practice, which is very important. So, as far as I remember, sorry, I do not take notes still. Maybe I need, but please bear with me. If we forget something, there is always a comment section below the video. So we start with phonology. Phonology is not really that important for Unit 1, but we note it down in order to just have it. So this one is definitely needed for Unit 2 for sure. For the time being, we can just mention it. Phonology deals with phonemes. Okay? Actually, we need to mention that there is phonology and phonetics, and we will speak about the differences between them. But for the time being, let's just mention one term. The phonemes and their interrelations within one language system, as far as I remember. Let us actually point out the core element on the right side, okay? So we have phonology. We also have graphology. Again, side note, according to the structure, graphology is not more important than phonology, all right? We just do it for the sake of representation. Graphology deals with the visual representation of language, all right? So here we have grapheme, of course, which is also a letter or a symbol, a sign. And however, there are many elements related to graphology, and we will speak about them. Can briefly mention paragraphing and its structure, and some additional elements for additional information, such as parentheses, for instance. Phonology, graphology, Lexis, and semantics. Okay? So Lexis and semantics, you may have heard about Lexis. It deals with words. Semantics is important for us because semantics deals with the meaning of the word, and they go together. Why? Because in your evaluation, not only do you need to point out that, well, there is a list of adjectives that the speaker uses, you may want to say that the adjectives actually carry positive or negative connotations that has an impact on the tone, but you want to address semantics too. What do these adjectives mean? Do they give descriptions of the shape, descriptions of the character, or whatever it is? So, word and its meaning on the right side. The next one. I believe we will need 2 or 3 more. So the next one is grammar and syntax. As far as I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, syntax is already part of grammar. And why do we need it separately? Well, my answer to this is that there are some syntactic features or syntactic elements that we can evaluate only in relation to syntax, and they're primarily related to the word order. And grammar, in its turn, addresses a more general, right, thing, and it is not only about the rules that can be broken, but also about other features such as parts of speech, for example. So let's put it this way: rules, patterns, okay, syntactic patterns or syntactic features. Discourse and pragmatics. So discourse and pragmatics is a very interesting level because it deals with many things, such as the text organization, if we speak about discourse. This is something we put: text organization. It is the paragraphing primarily and the reasons why there is this particular word order. What does the speaker want to transmit? What are the purposes? Let's use some terminology related to context. What are the purposes of such a sequence of narration in a speech or presentation? So these are the details of organization and sequence within the text, and obviously the reasons. By the way, side note, asking yourself why something is this way and not the other is really crucial while writing, because it adds to the evaluation in your tone. When you have found out an explanation to, say, the organization of the text this way, you can note it down and show that this is not something random suggested by the speaker, but there is a possible reason for it. And this is something examiners value. So discourse deals with text organization, pragmatics deals with, let's say, I like to put it as meaning behind the word. Meaning behind the word. Or, in other words, it is implied meaning. Meaning which is implied. So it is something that the speaker wants to hint on, but not say directly. So we will speak about the details of all these things. And is there anything we're missing? Let's check. Phonology and phonetics, number 1. Graphology, the visual representation. Lexis and semantics, the level of the word. Grammar and syntax, the level of the sentence and word combination. Discourse and pragmatics, the level of the text. I would say that some people would also add the level of thesaurus, maybe, but we do not need it because we do not have a set of texts anywhere. So it is a higher level when we have several texts interrelated, and we can also evaluate the choices for the texts, what they say, and the interrelations between them. But for the time being, it's enough. So I think it is a very brief and hopefully clear beginning to the language in use layer overall, So thank you very much for your attention. I see you in the next one. Bye bye.